As we continue our Oceans Week coverage, today we're going to be talking about how you behave and live for a better ocean. That's right, we're going to be talking about behavior change because the only way we can really protect the ocean is through behavior change. How we behave and how we can change the way we behave around the ocean or how we think about the ocean and our planet. So if you're interested in that, then you're going to want to tune into this episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. Let's start the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Lewin, and this is the podcast where we find out what's happening with the ocean, how you can speak up for the ocean, what you can do to live for a better ocean by taking action. And this is our Oceans Week coverage. This is where we talk all things oceans. As you know, if you've been subscribed or followed this episode for any length of time, every time I publish is Oceans Day or Oceans Week or Oceans Month or Oceans Year. Every day we publish, we talk about the ocean. So we're always thinking about the ocean. But this is a special time because this is the time where more people than usual will be spending time thinking about the ocean. And to be honest, I'm getting ready to get on a flight. I have to be at the airport at 3:30 in the morning. It is 10 o'clock at night the night before, and I am trying to get this podcast out because I want to make sure that every day you had something about the ocean to think about. But I want to do something different because a lot of people this week will be talking about, the plight of the ocean. They're going to be talking about, what we need to do to live for a better ocean in their own way. They're going to be making large announcements of, different things that are going on in the ocean and projects that are going on in the ocean or marine protected areas or things like that. You're going to see a lot of stuff. But what I really wanted to talk about is one of the reasons why I got into podcasting and just sort of overall the reason why we do conservation is behavior change. How can we really think about behavior? And I'm just going to take you back before I started social media, before I started talking about the ocean from a science communication perspective is I was, talking to family a lot, talking to my friends a lot, and a lot of people that I talked to did not know a lot about the ocean. They knew bits and pieces and things like that. They didn't hate the ocean. They loved the ocean. They loved the planet. They loved the environment. But they didn't know a lot what was going on. They didn't know a lot about the big issues. And this is, mid to late 2000s where, I'm talking about climate change. I'm talking about, plastic pollution. Not a lot of people in Canada anyway, even some in the States, didn't really know much about that. They didn't know that those are major issues on the horizon. There was talk and there was a lot of denial about climate change, a lot of debate whether climate change actually exists. And I think we're at a point right now where we're past that. And anybody who tries to bring up that debate, people just kind of laugh at them. It's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, look at this world. But at that time, that was the major issue with climate change is whether it was actually happening or not. And we know who was behind, putting in bad thoughts or putting in that deniability was oil and gas and fossil fuel. They even admitted to it. So, we knew that was going on, but nobody really sunk their teeth into how is our life going to change for the worse with climate change. A lot of people are like, well, this isn't going to hit us anytime soon. It's maybe hit our great grandchildren. And as we know, we're getting hit with it right now, and it's accelerating at a speed that I feel like sometimes is uncontrollable. And so we're trying to figure that out right now and trying to find solutions. But really what it is, hey, you know what? We need to just change our behaviors, not just individually, but also at a government level. We really need to start taking priority on our planet and in our environment and in our oceans. That's where we need to come by. And the only way to do that is to acknowledge that we don't live the best and most wholesome and most sustainable life. None of us do. It is very difficult to do so. So we have to demand for ourselves to just be like, you know what? We need to do better. Each and every one of us on an individual level. We need to do it on a community level, at a city or town or village level. We need to do it at a regional or county level. We need to do it at a state level or provincial level. And we have to do it at a federal level. And finally, we have to do it at an international level. One of my good friends here in Burlington, we had a great conversation a while ago, and it was all about what we need to do about climate change. And he said, he's like, Andrew, he's like, I don't really think we can really do much about climate change until other countries like China and India do something about climate change. Because if they don't do anything, then there's really no point. And he's got a bit of a point in terms of, yes, we need every country to do something about climate change, but that doesn't mean that we stop until they do it. Because if they're not going to do it and we don't do it, then nobody's going to do it. Right? And I'm talking about Canada. I'm talking about the Western world, like the US and Europe and things like that. You can't wait just till the most popular country or populated countries in the world start to do something about climate change. Yes, they need to do something, and they are doing something. We've seen reports, we've seen the science that, China, although they are still building coal plants because they have to support their infrastructure, they are doing, like, they're investing in solar at a phenomenal rate and wind power at a phenomenal rate. And we need to do the same thing. We need to change the way we behave, because if nobody does, we're all screwed. Like, that's really the fact of it's coming down. Like, we are all screwed. So we have to show that we can do it, because there's a competition among countries. If one country is doing it really well, other countries are like, well, we should have been doing that first. Why weren't we first to do it? And there's a little bit of that. I want to be better than you kind of thing, and I want to be the leader in this specific thing. And it's expensive. It's probably going to be the biggest behavior change that we ever do when we talk about climate change, but it's something that has to be done, and we are doing it, just not fast enough. And I think that's where we come in as individuals, and we come in the democratic societies, if those of you who are part of democratic societies, where you get to vote for your next prime minister or president or whoever that might be. You have a vote, and you have a choice to make of who that person's going to be. And when you choose that person, if you are looking at protecting the environment and trying to strive for a more sustainable environment, then you vote for somebody who has policies. Unfortunately, it comes down to a lot of countries. It comes down to either one party, like there's like say 2, maybe 3 popular parties. Even one party will have a climate change policy and the others don't, or they have very minimal, or they have something that's not working. So for instance, in Canada, the Liberals have a climate change policy. It may not be the best climate change policy, but it's a climate change policy, right? The Conservatives, the opposition government right now, who is probably leading in the polls right now, they do not have a climate change policy. They are going to revert back to everything that we did before, which was harmful to the environment. They're going to go back and invest more in fossil fuels. They're going to invest less in renewable energy systems. And methods. They're going to scale back on any kind of environmental policy, or like just kind of get rid of those policies. And I can't have my country do that. It's not in the cards. It can't happen. And so I have to go out and vote. I have to go out and talk about what we need as Canadians, what I think we need as Canadians, to be able to get people to be like, hold off a second here. Like, this party has not talked about any of their climate change policies. Like, how do you have a party right now that does not have a climate change policy? How are you still in denial? This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, there are, and here's an example of what's happening is, our opposition leader, Pierre Poilievre, starts talking, and his sort of like his party will ask questions about the carbon tax. They're talking about how the carbon tax is ruining life in Canada. It's the reason why everything is so high. It's the reason for inflation. It's the reason for everything. If we axe the tax, as they call it, then we can get rid of inflation. That's what they're basically saying, which is a lie. That's not true, but that's how they're selling it to Canadians, right? That's how they're selling it to Canadians. They think that if we can't have the carbon tax, if we don't have the carbon tax, all of our problems will survive. All the grocery store bills will go down. All of the high cost of living will go down. We'll be able to afford housing again. All of our, everything will just be magic, which is not true. We know this isn't true, but this is how they're packaging it, right? And so by talking about axing the tax, they'll start asking questions in like the House, like in Parliament, and they'll start just being like, okay, if we've been using this carbon tax for like 4 or 5 years now, but the forest fires are still going on. When are you going to when are you going to predict when this carbon tax is going to work and when the forest fires will stop? Well, we know that's not how the carbon tax works, right? We know this. And we know even if we stopped everything that was contributing to climate change to this day, like if we stop today, right now, it will take decades to reverse the damages done. And it'll take decades to stop the damage that we already did and the climate from changing. We know this, and they know this. They just decide to ask these questions in public to be able to say, and on record, to be able to say, hey, this carbon tax isn't working. Let's just scrap it and let's get these guys out and put us in. We'll solve all of your problems without even telling you our policies. Other than the fact that they're going to change, I'm not going to get into it, but they're going to change a lot of things in the Constitution. That's what they've threatened to do. So here we are, with governments who are making all these promises, saying that all the solutions that some government has put together is wrong and they know all the answers and they're going to solve all of our problems, just vote them in. But it's almost like they don't tell us much about their policies before we vote them in. And this is not just unique to Canada. This is a lot of other countries who are doing the same thing that have democratic processes. So, we need to see a change in that process. We need to see politicians and parties start proposing more climate change policies to reduce climate change effects, to reduce greenhouse gases, and to get back into what we were before. Right now, we're predicted to shoot over any one of our goals. The Paris Accord goals have been done for a while. Even though that's still around and we're still striving to do that, we're going to be like double the amount of degrees that we expected. I think we were trying to get under 1.5 degrees increase. Now we're expected to hit 3 degrees more, which according to some of the IPCC reports, the International Panel on Climate Change, it's essentially like catastrophic, essentially. So, we need to change the way we are living. We need to change the way we behave. We need to change at our political levels, of all different political levels. We need to change also at an individual level. I want you to think from an individual standpoint. This is not to call you out, because this happens to me as well. Think about your regular routine, your daily routine. How much more sustainable can it be? And I want you to go back to think to the clothes you're wearing, to what you're eating in the morning, for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. I want you to think about how you get to work. I want to think of how you get back from work, or if you work from home, what are you using for work, and how many things that you use are not sustainable or not sustainably made. What service do you use that you think that probably isn't very good for the environment when you really break down and boil it down, right? Or maybe not even know. I think you'd be surprised. I think it's almost like, there's an app called Yuka, and I was just introduced to this from a friend of mine. And my friend Mike was like, hey, you got to try this. It actually, you can scan the barcode and it tells you everything that's in the whatever you're eating or drinking, or even on cosmetics. So like for my daughters and stuff. And you scan them. Like say you scan a can of pop, it'll tell you how many hazardous items are in there based on like medical journals, and it'll tell you like what this like a 0 out of 10 score, or like a 0 to 10, a 0 to 100 score, whether it's healthy for you. So if it has too much sugar, it gets a lower score. If it's okay on sugar, it's better. So like things like soda water is better for you. Really bad pop, like dark pops, are really bad for you. So like a 0 out of 100 has a lot of hazardous materials. And it makes you think, once you start learning about this, it makes you think, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have that. Maybe it's really not good for me. And there are some people who use the app and it's like life-changing for them. They look at the lotions and everything like that. Does it have cancerous kind of materials and carcinogens and all this kind of stuff? And it changes their life. They don't use those products anymore. Right? And it's, it's not perfectly accurate, but it gives you a distinction. It gives you, say, this product is not that good for you, even though it could be one of the most marketable products in the world, or one of the most popular products around the world. It's not good for you. You've been sold a lie. It's just like recycling. We were sold a lie. Right? And when you start to look at how we live in society, we live a hustle lifestyle. It's a go kind of lifestyle. I've seen it with parents. It's kind of crazy. As I'm a parent myself, and my kids are young still. They're still teenagers. They're 14 and 16. And when they were younger, we were like, okay, let's bring them to like art for this, and then gymnastics for this, and then hockey for this, and then soccer in the spring, and then they'll do this. And then you have some parents who are like all over the place. Every day of the week, they had 1 or 2 activities, and they were just a taxi service going back and forth, back and forth. By the time they got home, it's like 9 o'clock at night. They're exhausted, and they're done. And it may have benefited the kids to be able to go to all these activities and develop their minds and develop their physicality, like in sports and all that, and their athleticism in sports. But like you're go, you're driving all the time. Your food becomes more of a thing of convenience, right? What can you do? You go on the run? Do you grab like from a donut shop like Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts, or do you go to a fast food place, or do you go maybe Subway's a little bit better for you, but not really that good for you when you think about it? You tend to go more processed foods than whole foods because you don't really take the time to cook at home and take the time to have that conversation with your kids or as a family because you're go all the time, right? Anybody who has kids in rep, whatever sport, you know what I'm saying, right? It's always on the go just for one sport. God forbid your child wants to do something else, which some kids do. I coach U12 football, and there's some 10 and 11-year-olds who are playing, AAA hockey and then AAA football, and then they'll play flag football as well, then they'll play baseball, and they'll play all these. They're all great athletes, but it's like, when do they get to be a kid and just rest? Like, it's great to be in these sports, and if they're having fun, great, and they're less in front of a screen, but is it just go all the time for the entire family? Is that what you want for your family? And some people do, and that's fine, but let's think about the environment here. When you start to have that kind of hustle mentality and that hustle lifestyle as a parent or even as an individual, well, what's that mean for you after? Like, it means you're having meals on the go or very quick meals. You don't have time to cook because you're always on the go or you're exhausted. You got to work, you got to be a parent, and you're taking your kids to all these activities. If you have more than one, it's even more, right? And so your lifestyle just becomes everything's on the go. You're going to convenience stores to get a drink or to get a bottle of water instead of bringing water from home. Not saying that all parents bring bottles of water, but I'm just saying, like a plastic bottle of water. But I'm saying, like, you start to go in that convenience type of lifestyle. What's the most convenient? What's the quickest way to do stuff? And shout out to the parents who will pre-make their food like at the beginning of the week so that they have food for most of the week and then they make another one. But again, it's like you're not slowing your life down. And when I think of the environment and a behavior change, I think of slowing your life down. I think of just taking a breath, understanding what it is that you need to do, and being able to enjoy it. One of the things that I really learned, I've mentioned this on the podcast over the past 3 months, when I went to Italy with the family, my brother, my mother, it was the first, and my wife and kids, it was the first trip we did without my dad. A very difficult trip, a very emotional trip, but we had a lot of fun going. We got to laugh together, we got to be together for a week and a half or two, and we went to Italy. And when you start to look at the people of Italy, you look at how they live their lives. Like, you always go and look at how other people, what the culture's like in other countries. In Italy, the culture is very like enjoy life as it happens. I feel like that's a very European kind of lifestyle, but I really noticed it in Italy. I've only been to Greece and Italy, to be honest, in Europe in my day, but I really noticed it in Italy. I really noticed that there were people who were just sitting on a park bench along the street, like downtown Rome or like a very touristy area of Rome, and just reading a book and just chilling out and just being like, hey, I'm just going to enjoy this. I don't have to sit here. I decided to sit here. It's a little busy, people coming in and out, but I'm just going to enjoy reading my book. Or some people are just drawing or writing into a notebook, just relaxing. When I went down to the Amalfi Coast, Sorrento, it was even more chilled. You saw older people who were sitting on park benches, just staring out into the water, into the ocean, and just soaking up the view and soaking up the sun and just enjoying life, just thinking and slowing things down. And I know we can't always live like that, but I think sometimes we make an excuse for not living like that. I don't have time for that. I got to make more money. I need more. I need more of this. I need more of that. I need more of this. I need a new car. I need bigger house. I need this. I need that. I think sometimes we just get caught up in everything. We see celebrities with, tens and $20 million or $100 million. I just saw a wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson, just get $140 million, where $110 million is guaranteed during his time. That's great for Justin Jefferson and great for his family. It's generational money, but people look at that and it's like, okay, I want to get that kind of money. So I need to hustle. I need to build a business. I need to do this. It's just work. And it's just like hustle. And then when you look back and you realize, like, I didn't really get to enjoy life. And sometimes you just have to enjoy life, right? Sometimes when you stop to literally smell the roses or even smell the ocean, the good ocean, not the swampy and the sewerage kind of ocean, but the good ocean, you start to realize how lucky we are to live on this planet. We start to realize how it's important that we just kind of take it in. One of the videos that I enjoy the most when I'm watching TikTok or Instagram, there is this guy, I don't even remember his name. He's from Hawaii. And he will just be like, hey guys, how are you? It's a great day. We're going to go diving with some sea turtles. We're going to go diving. There's some humpbacks nearby. We're just going to go jump in the water and just kind of get underwater video. And it's just a chilled out music in the background. It's the blue oceans in Hawaii. You get to see amazing wildlife, and it just chills you out. Then I remember, I'm like, I got to get off my screen. I got to enjoy more of Ontario. I got to enjoy more of my home. I got a beautiful house. I got a wonderful family. I need to enjoy it more. I don't need to make more. I need to enjoy it more. Enjoy what you have. Enjoy the environment that we have. And try and preserve it through the life that you lead by just slowing down a little bit. Getting out of that life of convenience and enjoying. If you're going to cook and you enjoy the cook. Cook from scratch. Don't get anything processed. Cook. If you enjoy sitting out in the backyard or sitting out on your balcony and just enjoying the sounds, right? Enjoying the view, do that. If you can go see a sunset or sunrise, do that, because it's the most beautiful thing you'll see that day. So enjoy life, slow it down, and it'll change your behavior. And I think we need to do that, not just as individuals, but I feel like as a world, as governments. I think we need to do that at all levels. I think we need to do it in groups, in communities. I think we just need to enjoy the life that we have and stop thinking about growth from a financial standpoint, from every kind of standpoint. Enjoy life. You will grow from a mental, emotional, and probably physical standpoint. You'll probably be healthier because you'll be in nature more. And I think that's the message of this podcast is enjoy life, preserve the ocean, preserve the planet, and we're going to be just fine. But we need to change our behaviors, and it starts with changing our mindset, which change is hard. But if you really want a perfect ocean, if you really want a perfect planet, you need to change your behavior. We all do. Not just you, but me as well, everybody. And I think this is like one of those inspirational podcasts that I try to do and just be like, just sit back, take a breath, and enjoy life. That's my message for today on Oceans Week of 2024. I hope you got something out of it. Love to hear from you. You can go to Instagram at How to Protect the Ocean. And if you want to join my community in July, I'm going to have an app that comes out, and it's going to be a Speak Up for Blue app. It's an ocean app that you can come together. You can get like Q&As that we'll do, live Q&As that'll be for free. We'll have some that will be a little extra charge. There'll be some premium kind of things, behind the scenes looks, all that kind of stuff. But you'll get the podcast, you'll get like TikToks, videos, YouTube videos, all in one spot. Imagine that. No algorithm messing with you, all in one spot. So just go to speakupforblue.com/ocean app, APP, all one word, ocean app, and sign up, and I'll give you some updates. But I'm going to get ready for my trip, finish packing, get to sleep, wake up in a few hours, and get on my trip, get on the plane to go to Kamloops, BC, which I'm looking forward to seeing. So have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. This has been a How to Protect the Ocean podcast. I am your host, Andrew Lewin. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. Happy Oceans Week and happy conservation.